terrorist attacks have occurred in Paris over the last few days, and we will have to dig through the mainstream media to find out the real details, the real deal. Paris terrorist trained by CIA asset. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. We'll get into this article right here. First of all, there is a police state that has been activated in Britain. The elite special forces have joined counter-terror police and 1,900 army personnel in the biggest security operation since the 2012 London Olympics. And that is occurring right now. Now, there may be good reason for this, but I just wanted to mention it because we always have this acclamation of seeing the military on the streets. No longer do you see the police forces that look like police used to a few decades ago. Now they are militarized police, and they look a lot like the army, sort of a phasing in of getting the army on the streets, the military on the streets. And we see this in third world countries where you have the military always patrolling. So let's move on right here. I want to get in, not really into the details of the scenario itself. I'm sure you've seen it already. You've been reading about it. So I want to get into the things that the mainstream media won't cover. French law enforcement officers have been told to erase their social media presence and to carry weapons at all times because terror sleeper cells have been activated over the last 24 hours in the country. So, over the past couple days, they basically have said that these sleeper cells have been activated. A sleeper cell is basically somebody or a group of people who are willing to go ahead with these attacks, and they are already in the country. So this right here could mean that we could experience additional terrorist attacks. So this is definitely something to be on the lookout for. Now let's get into the real details here. Revealed, police stopped watching Paris killers 6 months ago after the terror cell of the kosher deli attacker and his crossbow jihadi wife, who has fled to Syria, were deemed low risk. And we've seen this before. I'll get into the details on that in just a moment. This article out of the Daily Mail, just wanted to mention it because it is so essential, so crucial to realize how simple this is to think about when you have somebody who is a known terrorist or has been talking about committing terrorist crimes. You don't let them go off the list. We have so many innocent people on the no-fly lists and all of these lists when they know specifically that they are not terrorists, but you have these individuals here who are basically allowed in and out of the country at will. We saw what happened in 9/11, how people were allowed in without passports. They were allowed to do anything they wanted. They overstayed their visas. These are things that are statistical facts that you can look up, documented proof available for you. And of course, this just happens over and over and over again. Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting that this is a false flag, but it's starting to connect the dots. And let me get into one more of those right now. I was sent, me, by Al-Qaeda of Yemen. I went over there and it was Anwar al-Awlaki who financed me. So this individual here who was guilty of committing these crimes, basically claiming that he was, this is the situation. This seems something like out of a movie, but it could definitely be real. We don't know the inside details on that. But it just seems like his confession here seems a little bit unusual at this time during the siege. This is out of Reuters. So we're going to move on right here because it's all connected in with this. Yemeni official said that he visited Yemen in 2011 and linked up with Al-Qaeda. This article is out of the Washington Post, and I'm going to scroll down further into the article. The elder of the two brothers accused of carrying out France's deadliest terrorist attack in decades visited Yemen in 2011 on the pretext of the Islamic studies and instead linked up with the country's Al-Qaeda affiliate, meeting with a group led by American-born terrorist suspect Anwar al-Awlaki, a senior Yemeni security official said Friday. So these two individuals met up. According to the actual person, they said that they were actually there financed by him at this time. And it is quite interesting, Awlaki actually was killed of a drone strike in Yemen, supposedly in 2011. He is an American-born American citizen who was actually killed under the NDAA because, of course, you're allowed to do whatever you want when you're the emperor. So we're going to move on right here to this. Out of Fox News, Anwar al-Awlaki may be the first American on the CIA's kill or capture list, but he was also a lunch guest of military brass at the Pentagon within months of the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. This goes to show you the deeper connections that are not being put out into the media. Yes, it is reported by the media, but this is always put on the back burner right into the final pages and never makes front page news, although it should. Look how these dots are all beginning to connect. And let's get into this one last one here. Top official admits FBI had Awlaki in custody before letting him go in 2002. This is exactly what happens over and over and over again. This is just one very good example of that. Let's look back into what's happening. You had these individuals who were supposedly financed and trained in Yemen by this individual here. But if you go back in the past before that, this was supposedly masterminded in part of the 9/11 attacks. This individual was then at the Pentagon within months of these attacks occurring, and he's there as a partner, as one of them, and he's obviously an asset of them. We look into deeper details and we find so much of this. But it is very interesting that they work together and they're all connected. So we have to think and start to question what is really going on. Are they also assets? These individuals have just committed the crime in France right now. Are they also assets? Well, perhaps, and perhaps there's something else deeper going on. Maybe they're just radical individuals who were allowed to be controlled and manipulated from the top from other individuals in the military-industrial complex. We don't know, but these dots are all connecting. Everything is beginning to fall in line, fall in place. So let's keep more of an eye on that, definitely. In my book, I talked about wars, and I also talked about the effects of those wars, and I said, as the former chief economist at the World Bank, Joseph Stiglitz, suggests, we are doing this right now by fighting trillion-dollar wars in the Middle East and thereby creating enemies worldwide. Now, whether this individual situation was actually created as a false flag, it doesn't matter, because real terrorists are being formed in different countries around the world simply by the fact that the US, the military-industrial complex, and all the other countries are actually invading and bombing and terrorizing their country. So they are definitely upset, and in some cases with good reason to be upset, because they have invaded, they have blown up their cities, they have blown up their villages, and they want to retaliate. So they do so. Now, we have to realize and pick apart the details and understand which are real, which are fake, which are manipulated. So we will continue to dig deeper into this situation to figure out what it is. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. I just want to say that I've been replying to so many comments. I went all the way back to January 1st and replied to all of them. So I'm trying to get back to all of you guys. There are just so many. There's hundreds, I believe, every single day. My inbox, I emptied out the insiders inbox yesterday, and already today it's filled up again. If you really need to get me, you have to email me on the insiders. The comments I can't always get to anymore. It is just too busy, and that goes to show you how strong the forces of liberty are. And of course, you also should email me at david@themoneygps.com. It does take me about a week now to get back to you guys at there, but you can get a hold of me there should you not become an insider. But if you do want to become an insider, it's totally free and it is available at themoneygps.com. You just scroll down to the bottom, fill in your email address, and you get occasional emails from me with good, short, concise info.